Hello, friend, and welcome. If you're new here, I'm super excited to meet you, and if you're returning, I hope you're having a much better day than the last time that we talked. In my readings, I do include a little bit of shadow work and intuitive messages along with the tarot and the oracle cards in order to help you on your spiritual journey. The point of this reading is to help you see yourself and understand from an outside perspective what it is that you may need in order to move forward on your journey, so that way you can do this one step at a time. And today I'm just going to focus on what it is that you need to know right now. What it is you need to know right now in this moment. What is it that is going to help you understand, what it is that we have to do moving forward. So what do we need to know right now about now? Okay. All right, these cards were flying and that felt sloppy, but it felt right. So let's do this one because this one flew first and then we'll do it from order that way. So the first card that we have is the Queen of Swords in her reverse position. I don't care if you're male or female, this is the divine feminine of the sword suit. This card is coming in and saying that we've been a little critical of ourselves. We've been a little critical, we've been a little unfair, we've been very harsh, and we've been letting that inner critic just run rampant and take over. Whenever I see this, I know that it's because you have been staying positive and hopeful and optimistic for so long that it's just one of those where the cynicism just takes over. And when you have the Queen of Swords in her reverse position, we often forget that there's more to a situation than what we perceive, and we've just been in it for so long that we need to expand our vision again. Queen of Swords is coming in and just reminding you to give yourself grace, to allow yourself to have, I'm not saying a more optimistic view, but give yourself a more compassionate view of the situation and let yourself see it through a lens of someone else. Let yourself see yourself, like your situation, as though it was your friend or a loved one, and see if you would say the same thing that you're saying to yourself to them. Then we have Judgment in its reverse position. So I love this card because it's the only one, and if you follow me for a while now, you know that I talk about mirrors when it comes to Judgment. It's about you looking yourself in the mirror. And this card is the only one that actually has visuals of mirrors. And I love that because that's exactly what this is about. It's about you looking yourself in the mirror and deciding if you like what you see. And I'm not just talking about your physical appearance. I'm talking about like who your character is, who you are internally, what drives you, what shapes you, and what you do with your life. And when it's in that reverse position, when Judgment's in the reverse position, you've already done this. The thing about like you receiving this card now is that you have to do something about it. And like, yeah, I get it. That's easier said than done, but you already know that there's something that you want to change about your life. And instead of just thinking about it or researching about it or looking it up, start doing the thing that makes the difference. So if you are wanting to eat, live a healthier lifestyle and you're wanting to eat healthier foods, allow yourself to literally start eating healthier foods. I don't care if it's just an apple. Honestly, my healthy go-to, I'm gonna say healthy on this one, my healthy go-to to help me during my transformation for eating healthy was apples and peanut butter. Apples was healthy. The amount of peanut butter I was eating with the apples, but it was still a better alternative and snack than, say, chips or pretzels. So find the healthy option that you can start doing now. And if it's not that, do something else. What is it that you're trying to change, and what is it that you can start doing now in order to get you closer to where you want to be? Because then we have the Six of Cups here. Six of Cups is that nostalgic trap card. And it's one of those things where if you're finding yourself looking back on how easy things used to be, or even who you used to be, it's going to be one of those things where you're never going to be able to achieve what it is that you want to based off of that standard. Because you can't be who you were. You can only be who you are now. So understand that if you're trying to get the same body that you had 20 years ago, okay, well, your body's not the same. So who you were 20 years ago is not who you're going to be today, even if you were to lose that weight. If you're trying to be as active as you were 20 years ago, you're not the same person. You have different stresses, different life factors involved. It's not going to work out. If you're trying to be, find things as easy and as comfortable as they were 20 years ago, again, it's not going to be the same. You are a different person. You're in a different world than you were 20 years ago, or even 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago. I'm just using 20 years because it's an easy understanding. Point being, though, you can't just keep focusing on who you were in the past. You need to accept who you are now and figure out how you can bring those like good things about yourself in the past into the version that you are now. How can you integrate it? Not become that person in the past, but integrate those versions that you liked into who you are now. Integration is going to be key. Which leads us to death in its reverse position. So this tells me that this has been a journey for a little while, that you've been working on transformation for a little while. If death was in its upright position, it says it was a new change, but this is something that you've been working on. And you know what? That kind of makes some sense why the Queen of Swords is reversed, because if you've been working on this for a little bit, you've been starting to make the changes, you've been starting to do it, and it sounds like you're not giving yourself credit for what you've already achieved. If you've already started walking, 3 to 5 days a week, 20 minutes a day, but you're just too upset about the fact that you haven't been losing any weight, you're ignoring the fact that you're still walking 3 to 5 times a day, which is important in itself. That's more than most people do. Give yourself credit to understand you're making the changes. If you are, trying to learn something and you spend 2 to 3 hours a week on it, if it's like a new skill, a new language, a new craft, but you're not as far as you want to be, understand that you have still put in more time, more hours over the weeks than when you started. So this isn't about you instantly getting the results that you want. This is going to be a journey. This is going to be a process. This could be a lifelong process. This could be a month-long process. This could be a year-long process. This could be whatever it is, but it's not going to be quick. It's going to take time, and it's going to take a lifestyle change. Because judgment in its reverse position, that's telling me that you're going to make permanent changes that are going to be effective, and that's going to sustain you longer in life than short-term immediate changes. So this isn't going to be like a quick diet. This isn't going to be, I'm going to run 30 minutes a day and then slack off and, hope it maintains. This isn't going to be, I'm going to learn this new language and take, in a month and then never use it and hope you retain the information. This is going to be a lifestyle change, so it's going to take time. I'm curious to know why it is that you feel like you're not changing, why it is that you feel like the progress isn't actually amounting to something. Because it's one of those where I get that you're doing the work, but you just, again, you keep thinking that what you're doing is wasted energy, and that's not what it is. So let's figure out what's keeping us in this belief. Okay, there's a card that fell on the floor, but I'll get that later. Alright, this straight up tells me that someone else is writing your story. Every time I get the hater card, to me, it's always been that the hater is the one that is writing the script and you're following it. So I'm not sure who it is that's writing your script. I'm not sure who it is that is telling you that what you're doing is not worth it. And this hater really could just be this inner critical voice. This could just be a version of you that's not serving you anymore, that's lying to you about that the things that you're doing aren't amounting to anything. Understand that it's about you seeing your true growth, you seeing what you're doing, you seeing your own progress. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. It doesn't matter what grandma, grandpa says. It doesn't matter what coworker says. It doesn't matter what your spouse even says. What matters is that you know what you're doing. And as you keep doing it, it's going to keep getting better. So we're not going to let the haters, we're not going to let them take over. We're not going to let them run. We're not going to let them write our life script. We're going to write our life script, and they're going to read our version of the story. If they don't like that, that's their problem, not your problem. Nurturing. Again, another really good visual for what it is that you're doing. Trees take years to be as big as what we envision a tree to be when we think of trees. They take years to mature. I know that trees technically start from seeds. I have personally never seen a seed planted in the ground and a tree sprout out. I have only seen baby trees be sticks. So for me, I always like to say a tree starts out as a stick. Yes, again, I know there's a seed, but trees start out sticks. From sticks, they grow little wispy branches and maybe a leaf or two. And then the next year, they grow a little taller and they start to look like, weird wispy branches, with some leaves on a stick. typically by year 3, they start to look like a mini tree. But they're still, again, a mini tree. Again, it could take up to 5 to 7 years for a tree to even get to mature height. So this is a really good understanding of what your journey is going to look like. What you're doing now is you're nurturing yourself. You're nurturing your growth. You're nurturing your process. You are nurturing yourself. So that way, in the long term, you can sustain the change that you're trying to create, that you're working to create. Gamble. So this tells me that you have been, getting aggravated with the slow, long-term growth here, and you're looking for quick fixes, and we need to stop that. Trust me, I know how easy it is to fall for that dopamine. Do this now and you're going to lose, you're going to lose it all in 3 months. Do this now and you're going to achieve the life of, like, the dream job that you want. Do this now and you're going to get all this money that you're hoping to receive. Don't fall for them. I'm not saying that they're scams. Some of them might be legit. My point is, unless it's already aligned with everything that you're doing, it's not going to be the answer for you. Those answers work for those people because they were aligned with those people's lives and beliefs. They are already doing things to make that work. You just need to focus on your own life, and if one of those things actually makes sense and aligns perfectly with you and you're just like, oh my god, I think this is the thing, then fine. But make sure it 100% aligns with you. Not 90%, not even 95%. I want it to 100% align with you before you take one of those quick fixes. Because those quick fixes only work for the people that already have that lifestyle, that have the ability to do what it is they need to do. So if you're going to allow yourself to grow this tree and allow yourself to understand that you do need to make the changes and that these changes are going to happen over time, and you find your one that actually works, that's fine, but don't go looking for the gamble. Counseling. This is all about you receiving so many external, too much information. Every time I see this card, those pages just feel so overwhelming, and that's exactly what the internet is, or anyone who wants to give you advice on how to do anything that you're trying to do in order to change your life, because they know the way that works exactly, they know exactly how to do it and why it's not working for you, and I don't want to hear it. The answer's internal. The answer is with you. Don't worry about why your story isn't looking like everybody else's. Your story is unique to you. Your progress is your progress. This isn't a competition. This isn't a race. This is your journey, your life, and it's up to you to decide your own, stepping stones. It's up to you to decide your own progress. It's up to you to decide what your own version of success is. For me, I've been talking about losing weight a lot, so clearly this is, an easy example to go with. But I originally started my health journey because I am way more pounds more than what I want to be. And I know, it's not as healthy as I want to be, but it is what it is. And when I started my transformation on my health journey, it was one of those where I knew I just wanted a healthier lifestyle, but part of me could not stop focusing on the fact that, the waist never got slimmer, and, the walks would get easier, but it just wasn't as easy as I wanted it to be because I was comparing myself to, 20-year-old me who could do anything and had boundless energy. The thing is, when I made the transformation from external validation to internal validation, it was one of those things where it's like, you know what? I eat way healthier now than I did 5 months ago. That's amazing, and that's better for my body, and that's more sustaining for my long-term health. Yes, I might not have the inches that I lost that I want to lose, but I am treating my body so much better now, and that's what I focus on. So instead of going outward and seeing everyone else's versions of success or what you should be like, allow yourself to go internal and allow yourself to decide, allow yourself to create, allow yourself to plan, to write the story, not other people. I picked up the card that fell off the floor, and I'm bringing it up because I feel like it applies, and this is Unexpected Blessing. And this is telling me that whatever your circumstance is, understand that it's not something that you are going to be able to plan all the way through. There's going to be unexpected blessings. There's going to be unexpected triumphs. There's going to be unexpected periods where things are just going to magically work out for you in ways that you would never expect it. So understand too that part of the answer of why you haven't completed what you're trying to complete is because you're waiting for the divine, universe, God, spirit, whatever you want to say. You're waiting for some version of that to come in and help you along the way. But the thing about them allowing you to help along the way is you have to keep doing what you're doing for yourself. And you have to tell the haters and all the other people who are telling you the right way to do it to shush. Let's ask the cards what it is that we can do to help us keep focus on progress instead of results. Because the fact that we're looking for results, for answers, or for validation, or whatever it is that you're, actively seeking is actually part of the problem. So what is it that we can do to focus on progress and help us see our true growth, so that way we can allow the tree and nurture the tree to grow without, giving up along the way because it's not what others are expecting and it's not what should be there. Embrace change. Embrace change and welcome new possibilities. It's kind of what I talked about with unexpected blessings here. And embracing change and new possibilities is all about you also taking back your story and saying, you know what, this might be a little uncomfortable for me, this might be a little different for me, but this is what I'm going to do for myself because it's for me, it's for my betterment, and I'm the one that gets to decide what is right for me. Self-love. Self-love is the foundation of all love. This is huge. This is what I was talking about with the haters and the nurturing and the Queen of Swords in a reverse position when I talked about, talking to yourself about compassion and giving yourself a compassionate look view. Self-love. And I want to remind you that when I talked about with the Queen of Swords is if you wouldn't speak to your friend or a loved one or a parent or, spouse the way that you're speaking to yourself, this has 100% something to do with that. Because you have to love yourself. Self-love is going to help you through this change, through this transformation, through this nurturing journey more than anything else is. Blessings. Blessings are gifts from the universe. Receive and share them. Okay, I want to remind you that this card fell on the floor and I picked it up, and now we're getting blessings again. And another subtle theme that I'm picking up here too is allowing yourself to receive. Allow yourself to receive the compliments. Allow yourself to receive, people saying, hey, I'm proud of you. Even if you're not proud of yourself, you should still receive the compliments. Because what those are is that's recognition of other people realizing, yes, you're doing the work. Again, it's not about the results. It's about the progress. Honestly, think about it this way. So if you've been following me for a little bit, I'm all big about the destination is not the destination. The journey is the destination. And it's one of those things where I talk about when you go on vacation, you get all excited to go there and you keep waiting until you get to vacation. Say you're going to Disney World, okay? Can't wait to get to Disney World. You're excited to get to Disney World. You finally get to Disney World. And then once you get to Disney World, you don't just stay at the hotel, you go to the park. Once you get in the park, you don't just stay at the gates, you go to do the different rides. Once you go on the different rides, you do, go to dinner. And then you go back to the hotel and then you hit repeat for a little bit. Yes, you might be in a centralized location, but you're still constantly moving. And typically, by the end of that vacation, you're ready to go home back to your own bed. So realize how the destination keeps changing. And it's because the destination is the illusion, the journey is the destination. And so what you're doing, what you're going after, you're going after your progress, but your progress is what you're trying to achieve. A healthier lifestyle, a happier lifestyle, a more confident lifestyle. Whatever it is that you're doing, these small changes that you're doing is meant to help you achieve what it is that you're actually trying to achieve. So when you receive these blessings from the universe, when you receive those compliments, when you receive the well-to-dos that you just want to brush off because you're not getting the results that you're going after, that's you pushing away the universe's ability to help you. support. Seek support. You don't have to bear everything alone. You know, this is a really good card to follow up with that blessing thing, because talking about compliments, talking about receiving, you know, recognition for what you're doing, support. Support groups are huge. And it doesn't have to be like multiple people. Like my best support group is my one friend, and we reach out to each other for 2 different things. Every Friday we have a phone conversation, and then every morning, me and another group of friends, but she's part of it, we message each other at 5 o'clock in the morning to see if we're getting up, because it's not that we're going to do anything as a group. It's just the, hey, you know, it's, you know, 5 o'clock, who's going to get up? And we kind of just do our own things to get our own time for the day, to allow ourselves to have me time and do what we need to before we have to start getting ready for work. And so support is something that makes a difference. Like work with somebody, talk to somebody, and be like, please remind me that, you know, what I'm doing is making a difference on my days that I'm low. And, you know, celebrate with me on days that I'm feeling good. If you had a really good walk and you get to tell that to someone or talk to someone about that, that's great. And if you had a bad walk, that person can help remind you, hey, you still took the walk though. You still did the thing. And that's still progress. So find that support. Now I just want to ask the cards for some encouragement. Some encouragement to help us get where we need to be, where we want to be, to help us continue this process, because like I said, it's going to take time. Nurturing isn't going to be quick. It's a lifestyle change that we're making, and lifestyle changes, you know, sometimes are the most difficult, because after a while you kind of forget that the new life that you're living is the change. Like, it's one of those things where it's like it starts to become such a habit that you forget that it's actually the goal that you had, you know, 5 or 6 months ago. So let's get a little bit of encouragement here. Be louder than doubt. That's 100% straightforward. Just be louder than the doubt. And that goes with this hater card about you taking over your story and writing your story. Be louder than doubt. It's safe to want more. Okay, this is important to say, because I have been harping about how, you know, the process is the destination, and to be happy with what you are already doing. But yes, you know, it's safe to want more. It is safe to say, I want to see results. It is safe to say, I want to be healthier. But don't allow yourself to take for granted what you're already doing. Instead, be happy and be proud of what you're already doing, and be realistic about when you can, you know, do something different. And understand that sometimes more might just happen over time. That your actions and your changes might compound over a multitude of a year or two, and by the time that you've been doing this for over 2 years, you have that more without even doing anything like more difficult. You might just already have achieved it by doing what you're doing. You just needed the time. The risk is worth the reward. So in this case, the risk would be trusting the process. The risk is knowing that, you know, you don't know when and you don't know how, but keep moving forward because the reward is there. Bold moves only. Bold moves only is a reminder that every time you make that change, every time you keep working towards your goal, every time you keep doing what you're trying to do in order to obtain what it is that you're trying to obtain, you're making a bold move. Even if it feels silly, even if it feels redundant, even if it feels aggravating, it's still a bold move. It's still you caring for yourself. It's still you putting yourself in a place, in a space where you can get that result without seeing it immediately. Bold moves only is that reminder that what you're doing isn't redundant, isn't trivial, isn't, you know, just menial. It's important, and you are making bold moves. If you have questions, feel free to hit us up in the comments. I'll do my best to respond. Other people will probably respond as well. But understand that, you know, this isn't about quick fixes. This is about you doing what you need to, and understanding that, you know, it's going to take time. Go ahead, let me know what resonated in the comments. If you have any questions or concerns, again, I do have available readings in the description below. There is a link for available readings. I do have some open dates. And this is all I have for you today. I love you so much. I know you're going to do this. You're amazing. You've made it this far. You're going to continue to move forward in your life and make changes. And I can't wait to hear about them soon. Bye-bye.